Today on TimesCast, former White House Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel kicks off his campaign for mayor.
Chicago is a great city with great people.
In Haiti, schools are struggling with delayed openings and financial troubles. And a first look at Tuesday's Science Times, scientists use Hollywood techniques to animate life on a molecular level.
I actually went to Hollywood for 3 months to learn this software.
Rahm Emanuel filed his papers on Monday to officially join the Chicago mayor's race, but his campaign had already begun. Chicago Bureau Chief Monica Davey reports from one campaign stop.
So we're walking toward the Friedman Seating Company. 4 generations have owned it, and they make seats for buses here. Looks like all the local television stations are here. Well, I see 2 and 5, I presume 7, looks like it's right over there. Rahm Emanuel is coming here to talk about how he wants to get rid of something known as a head tax, which large company owners need to pay to the city every year for each employee they have. So he leapt out of the car practically, and then he kind of dashed in.
How's it going? Great, good.
Rahm knows the theatrics of this really well. He's run himself before, but he's also run other people's campaigns. I've got safety glasses. Apparently I'm going to be wearing these throughout. I assume Rahm will have to too, because he doesn't wear glasses. In a way, by going to Washington and coming back, somehow he is greeted here, I think more than people would have expected, as a bit of a star, which is surprising to me because Rahm was from here, Rahm was a congressman here, Rahm was all over the place here.
Okay, all right, great. Rahm Emanuel. You are. Rahm Emanuel, nice to see you.
Shouldn't Rahm have those glasses on? When he arrived home, just a couple weeks ago, really, the landscape looked enormous. There were all these candidates claiming they were about to run for mayor. And as the days have worn on, more and more of the candidates sort of faded away.
All the candidates have a lot to offer. They'll offer their ideas. I'm offering my ideas today. We have, as you know, a head tax in the city of Chicago. I'm calling for its elimination over a 4-year period of time.
He needs to have this sort of a setting to talk about this kind of an issue. I think he's trying to show that business people should be interested in him, that he's watching what they need.
Using technology in a better way.
It's a city that tends to be split. So you've got the ethnic whites, you've got African Americans, you've got the Hispanic vote, you've got the lakefront liberal vote. The question is, how can he overcome some of those divisions?
I think the city of Chicago is at a crossroads.
Rahm answered a series of questions for reporters here, and then one of his aides called out, 2 more questions, and then last question, and boom, he was out of there practically before you could put your notebook away. This is Monica Davey reporting from Chicago.
Schools in Haiti are struggling with delayed starts and financial troubles, as reported in Monday's Times. On TimesCast, video journalist Brent McDonald takes us into one of those schools.
Of the thousands of schools damaged in the January earthquake, few started on time. While reporting on the delays in mid-October, I met 10th grader Jean-Baptiste Bruni sitting outside one of Haiti's largest public high schools, Lycée L'Ouverture. There, classrooms were still under construction, delayed because of an encroaching tent camp full of quake survivors. The school, named after Haiti's revolutionary hero, was also one of the oldest in the country. When the earthquake hit last January, Jean-Baptiste was in class on the 2nd floor. Several students and teachers died in the building. Construction on the new classrooms didn't begin until camp residents agreed to move their tents. Some of those people were later hired to help build. But tensions lingered between the school and some of its new neighbors. While talking with Jean-Baptiste, men claiming to be camp security interrupted the interview, threatened him with a baton, and told him to leave.
I think this interview is impossible.
Why?
Because ces jeunes personnes-là, je n'aime pas leur caractère. Ça qui fait venir jeudi, c'est que même bataille me perdre à l'école là, continuer même bataille me commencer tout à tout. Les filles donc viennent garder qui genre de travail mon y a fait. Ba perdre espoir non et le fait que ça fait. A pas dire ils font un beau travail. Mais comme si je dis, on fait un peu tard, ça me dit là. Mais je ne vais pas dire espoir. Je vais dire cool. Ça me dit là. I'm very cool.
On November 8th, Jean-Baptiste and about 3,000 other students at the lycée finally started class. They were just over a month late.
And a first look at Tuesday's Science Times, Eric Olson reports how scientists are using Hollywood animation technology to bring molecular science to life.
We have a story about animation, but not the kind of animation that you might normally think the readers might expect. Tell me, you went up to Harvard and what did you see?
They're called molecular animations, or the scientific term that they use is actually visualizations. But they are animations in the same way you might see something on Pixar or DreamWorks. These are visual representations of what you see inside cells.
All the way inside the cell.
All the way inside.
Beyond Fantastic Voyage. This is getting right down into the proteins, the mitochondria.
The way the proteins interact, what happens within a mitochondria, how the particles of food are converted into energy. These are things that have never before really been seen or presented in this type of a format.
And this isn't just an illustration. These are based on scientific fact.
They've come a long way just in the last decade. They can now, to some extent, visualize these things using the tools of animation that come from Hollywood, from Pixar. These are actually the same.
So when you say from Pixar, you actually the scientists went to Pixar, or?
That's correct.
I actually went to Hollywood for 3 months to learn this software, to be able to learn how to do these animations as part of my postdoc.
It forces us to understand what are we doing and how we do it, or what questions sometimes we need to address.
So this is actually an aid to research, not merely a kind of illustration
Very
or
much
teaching
so.
tool.
And it's growing rapidly.
So when does the video game come out?
Yeah, good question. I mean, keep an eye out for Grand Theft Auto Mitochondria in Christmas 2011.
Great. See if you can run down a protein, huh?
Join us again tomorrow for TimesCast.